I have known darkness, and I have known loneliness. I have known these two things so intimately that the black holes that fill our night sky have looked down upon me in envy, wondering how could it be? How could this child understand the deepest depths of me? I have known darkness, and I have been enveloped in loneliness. But I wasn't always kin to the dark or held captive by the worst of solitude, because growing up, my family and I, we were so close. Like me and my brother. The two of us can have an entire conversation and not say a single word. And it used to drive my mother crazy when she was raising us and attempting to instill some form of discipline. You know, and I can hear it in my head right now. Morgan and Jonathan, how on earth did my two brilliant children, with their two brilliant minds, come up with the worst idea in the entirety of history? And my brother would look at me, his eyes flashing SOS. Your mom is furious. And I would glance back at him in ocular Morse code. Yeah, dog, I know, be cool, I know. And she would just keep going. I mean, what am I doing wrong as a parent? What do you need from me? Because I don't understand why you thought it was a good idea to give your cousin laxative pills and tell the fool boy they were for sinus congestion. He's been in the bathroom all damn day. And my brother and I would exchange another glance, and she would always catch it. Y'all gonna stop that. I know you're talking. Mama, we haven't said a word. Look at the ceiling. So then me and my brother are just standing there, staring at the ceiling like, well, goddamn, I can't even tell him what I'm thinking anymore, but okay. Or my mom who has on more than one occasion said to any number of people, perhaps as recently as last week, I will go to hell and to jail for my children. Y'all don't want to play a move along before I take my earrings off, because best believe when I do, someone we going 6 feet under. It ain't gonna be me, but a damn sure might be you. That's my mom. That's my brother, my family, the people I thought I could always turn to, who would lift me up and support me no matter what. But there's this thing that happens from about age 11 to 18, this little fucked up thing called puberty. And it came roaring towards me with all the awkward adolescent force it could bring to bear, and I was completely unprepared for this shit. Because I have never felt as out of place in the times I stood standing in the mirror, running my eyes over my body and my face just so utterly betrayed. Because I had always been able to pretend that female assigned at birth, this was not my logical, biological end, and yet here I was. And when I was born, the doctor said to my mother, congratulations, you have a little girl. And she did her best to raise me as one, but at some point I would have to go to her and say, Mom, the doctors were wrong. You actually have another son. And I can remember sitting downstairs watching TV, and my brother was playing with his action figures at my feet. And on the TV show screen, this talk show host appeared and said, today, we're going to talk with the families of children who say they were born in the wrong bodies. Transgender children. And I sat up on the couch so damn quick, you would have thought somebody jammed a steel rod down my spine, because this was it. These kids were me. And my mom called out from the kitchen. Y'all in there watching? Nothing, Mom, we good. And she stepped out and she looked. Oh, no. Y'all can't be watching this. This will have you thinking something's wrong with you and get you confused. And we don't do that here. We don't have people like that in our family. And with a look of disgust, she turned the TV off. And my brother, he giggled. Yeah, Mom, those kids are pretty weird. And I knew then that no matter what happened, I couldn't tell them what was going on. And I had never felt so alone. And the darkness, it creeped in that day and nestled its way into my chest, wrapped itself around my heart so that I could barely breathe, because I had just found out that my family only loved me conditionally. But hey, I had a word now. I had the internet and I could search, and that's exactly what I did. For days and weeks and months at a time, I was online just trying to find anything that made sense to me. But the more I learned about how my life was supposed to be, the more despondent I grew, and I think my brother could see it because he would try to talk to me. Morgan, what's going on? What's wrong with you? And I would ignore him. And my mother tried too. Baby, if you don't tell me what's going on, then there's nothing I can do. And I ignored her too. Because it has always been my biggest sin, the fear of being vulnerable enough to let others in. And I already knew what they were going to say. And the things I read online, the newspaper articles, the academic journals, the anecdotes, they all said the same thing. You are transgender, and you will die alone. You are transgender, and you will lose your home. You are transgender, and no one will ever love you. You are nothing, and nothing you must become. And that's the thing with secrets. Secrets that are built on this foundation of shame, they become malignant and spread out, infecting everything until nothing is left unscathed. And this secret planted the seed of another kind that swung ominously from the poplar tree of my mind, and slowly the searches begin to change. Type, search, scroll. What's the fastest way to die? Type, search, scroll. Will I go to hell if I commit suicide? But you know, suicide doesn't happen all at once. It is the culmination of months and weeks, just hours of thought. But when you decide to do it, it is instantaneous. And if there is a straw that broke the camel's back, then this was mine. The day I sat at my computer and went online and found an article that said to me, if somebody were to go on some dates with me and maybe think I was attractive, and upon finding out I was transgender, they killed me in this moment of hateful, vengeful rage, then the judges, the lawyers, the policemen all say it's okay because trans panic is apparently a legitimate defense, and in the eyes of the law, I'm not really human anyway. And that was it for me. I couldn't think of a single reason to stay. And so I waited until I was all alone, went into my room, turned off my phone, and I had everything that I would need. See, you take these to make sure you don't throw up. And a couple of handfuls of these will put you eternally to sleep. And in case you don't do that right, you have a blade and you know it's down the road, not across the street. And I wasn't sure how long it would take. But unconsciousness came swiftly for me. And soon I was hand in hand with death, the slowing inhale and exhale of breath. But suddenly, filtering down through that nothingness in the voice of a man I did not recognize, came the words, Morgan is not going to make it. Morgan is going to die. And following that announcement, the cry that ripped through that darkness, tore it asunder, nearly dropped me to my spiritual knees, because it was the voice of my mother crying out, not my Morgan. Dear God, you cannot take my baby. And in her, I heard the resilience of all those who had come before me, and my ancestors whispered, oh, so gently. We did not drown in oceans, unceremonious burials at sea, spend our lives in chains and swing dying from trees so that you, at the first moment of difficulty, could flee. We did not, child. God knows that we did not. And they say that God created the world, the universe, and all things stretching out into eternity. But when that darkness came for me, when it rolled over me like the waves following the quake, reverberated throughout my soul as thunder shakes the mountainside. When I had so nearly succumbed, my mother came for me like the rising of the sun, and she was the way, the truth, and the light, and it was good. And I knew then that I was not alone, as my mother called me home, because she would rather have me as I was than see me dead and gone. And I stand here remembering what I learned back then, that life will not always be fair. And there will be moments of continued strife. But that day, at that time, basking in that glorious light, I opened my eyes and I chose life. Thank you.